Namaste everyone. Welcome back to Epic Tales of the Mahabharata. I'm Ryan, your host on this epic journey through one of the greatest stories ever. In our 11th episode, we saw the disastrous consequences of the dice game. Yudhishthir's decisions lead the Pandavas to lose their wealth, kingdom, and freedom. They were exiled into the forest for 12 years with an additional year to be spent incognito. Draupadi's humiliation in the Kaurava court weighs heavily on everyone's heart, and the shadow of that injustice looms large as we continue their story. In today's episode, Bhima grows resentful of Yudhishthir's adherence to Dharma, the burning question in Draupadi about justice and Arjun's powers as he visits the divine domains of Lord Vishnu and Lord Shiva. This chapter discusses transformation and resilience. The loss of their kingdom was hefty as the Pandavas walked away from Hastinapur, leaving their glory behind, with their faithful wife Draupadi and the devoted saint Dharma. The route to the woods was symbolic. Each step was taking them away from the luxuries of Indraprastha and deeper into an uncertain future. The woods were a harsh and laborious world. Tall trees imposed their view instead of the palace. Cries of wildlife took over their court music, and delicious dishes were lost to wild fruits and rustic life. Yet, greater than these physical hardships were their mental ones they bore. The humiliation of Draupadi haunted them, especially Yudhishthir, who felt guilty for her humiliation and their exile. But they did not break down. Rather, they survived as the Pandavas. Each vowed to suffer pain, thinking their turn of justice was at hand. Of all the Pandavas, Bhima could not take the exile well. Such a giant with enormous strength, strong and fierce when it came to family, refused to accept fate. One day, his fury broke out in full force under the moonlit canopy of the forest when he approached Yudhishthir. It was a glowing firelight before which Bhima's anger expressed itself. Brother, how can you bear this grave injustice? We are warriors and live as beggars while our enemies feed in our palace. Please allow me. I shall go to Hastinapur, crush Duryodhan, and reclaim our throne with my bare hands. Yudhishthir spoke in a wise and patient voice. Bhima, I know you're angry, but Dharma ties us. We lost the game of dice and have to respect our word. If we break our vow of exile, we lose what makes us righteous. Our time will come, but must come through Dharma, not vengeance. Bhima was still seething with anger, and Yudhishthir silenced his words. Draupadi faced this exile hard. The humiliations he faced in the Kaurava court, she just could not handle. She wanted to question Yudhishthir for putting her at stake. One evening, when the Pandavas sat around the fire, Draupadi's feelings overpowered her. She addressed Yudhishthir with tears welling up in her eyes. My lord, how can you sit here in peace while I was dragged into the court and was treated like a slave Don't you feel ashamed? How can you speak of Dharma when injustice reigns? Yudhishthir was burdened with remorse, but his voice did not tremble as he spoke. Ah, Draupadi, every day I relive the game, the gamble, the humiliation you faced. I do not have a solution, but we must have faith in God's plan. We will surely gain justice. Just have patience. Those evil ones must pay one day. Time passed, and they realized that strength alone could not restore their self-respect and power. Divine weapons and blessings were required. Yudhishthir asked Arjuna to seek favors from the gods. With the blessings of his brothers, Arjuna decided to go to the Himalayas. He walked through mountain tracks full of risk and climbed the peaks in extremely harsh weather. Finally, he reached Mount Kailash and initiated a penance invoking Lord Shiva. Weeks turned into months and he lost hope. One day, a hunter stood before him. This was no ordinary hunter. It was Lord Shiva, disguised to test Arjun's devotion. They clashed over a wild boar they had both shot, and a fierce duel ensued. Despite Arjun's incredible skill, he could not defeat the hunter. Finally, realizing his opponent's divine nature, Arjun fell to his knees and prayed for forgiveness. To Shiva's satisfaction, Arjun proved humble and bold. The latter bestowed his form and the Pashupastra weapon, the most destructive weapon, upon Arjun. Arjun was a guest of other gods. Indra, his celestial father, came to see him. Indra invited Arjun to Indralok, his heavenly abode, where he showered all sorts of honors and taught him the art of divine warfare. While in Indralok, Arjun met the heavenly dancers known as Apsaras. Among these unmatched beautiful Apsaras was Urvashi. She fell in love with him. She approached him, but Arjun declined gracefully, seeing her as a motherly figure. Urvashi, insulted and angrily, cursed him to lose his manhood and live as an eunuch. Indra intervened and told him that the curse would help him during the final year of the exile and he would be free after that. Arjun took the curse well, showing how he was always committed to Dharma. His family, living in the Kamyaka forest, had to face Kirmira, a giant demon attacking travelers and eating them. One night, as the Pandavas walked through the dark woods, Kirmira appeared. His eyes glowed red and he roared, "Who dares enter my forest? I will eat you all." Yudhishthir, the eldest of the Pandavas, replied peaceably, "We are the sons of King Pandu. We do not seek trouble, but if you attack, we will fight." Upon hearing this, Kirmira became enraged. He turned to Bhima, the strongest of the Pandavas, and growled, "You killed my brother Bakasur. Now I will kill you." Bhima was not afraid. He laughed and said, "Come, fight me if you dare." Kirmira rushed at Bhim and tried to crush him with his huge arms, but Bhim dodged. The demon then uprooted a tree and swung it at Bhim. But Bhim caught the tree and broke it into pieces with his hands. Kirmira wrestled with Bhim. He tried to overpower him, but Bhim was too powerful. Bhim raised Kirmira high up in the air and used all his force to hurl him down. The Pandavas had won. The forest was finally free from the demon's terror. Bhim was thanked by the sages who dwelt there. The Pandavas journeyed further, even more determined and strong after the defeat of yet another enemy. Arjuna returned with his divine weapons and hope. But Arjuna's spiritual journey was far from over. After days of meditation, Vishnu appeared before him. The preserver of the universe spoke of the inevitable war and the divine plan to restore Dharma. He assured Arjuna that he would guide him when the time came. This encounter strengthened Arjuna's resolve and prepared him for the trials ahead. The exile was full of adventures and learning. It gave them time to reflect on their actions, prepare, and plan the future. Let's reflect on some questions from our journey today. Question number 1. How do Bhim's anger and Yudhishthir's patience reflect different approaches to justice? Question number 2. What does Arjuna's journey to seek divine weapons teach us about perseverance and faith? And question number 3. How did Kirmira's death boost the Pandavas' confidence? Thank you for listening to this epic tale of the Mahabharata. Do share your thoughts with us and don't forget to subscribe. See you next week as we step deeper in. Till then, stay inspired. Namaste.